So today, I want to talk about quantum leaping. I want to teach you guys how to actually do it because it's worked for me countless times. Okay, so quantum leaping. Everyone's talking about it. And most people are doing it completely wrong. And I don't mean to be judgmental when I say this. But what I'm saying is that the way that most people are doing it is the reason why it's not working for them. Because they think a quantum leap is something that happens to them. They think that if they visualize hard enough, if they manifest hard enough, or if they make the right affirmations, then suddenly the universe will hand a new reality to your doorstep. But that's not how it works. A quantum leap is not something that happens to you. It is something that you become. And today, I'm going to break down exactly what that means. I'm going to explain the science and the spirituality behind it, and I'm going to teach you the actual steps on how to do it. And you will also understand why it works. Because when you understand why it works, then you actually do it differently. So let me start with a mistake, because I see this very constantly. Most people, they approach quantum leaping and even manifestation from a place of lack, from a place of wanting something, from a place of, I am here and I want to be there. Or I don't have this yet and I want the universe to give it to me. So they make vision boards from that energy. They manifest from that energy. They write affirmations from that energy. And the energy underneath all of it is that I am currently here and I want to be there. So unconsciously, you're creating a gap. And that gap, that feeling of I am here and I want to be there is exactly what's keeping you stuck. Because you're constantly affirming the distance between you and what you want. You're telling the universe every single time that you visualize that this thing is not yet yours. That you are the person who still doesn't have it. The quantum leap doesn't happen when you attract the new reality. It happens when you stop becoming the person who needs to attract it. And when you become the person who already inhabits it. So the shift is not in your circumstances. The shift is in your identity. And identity is not changed by wanting something. It's changed by becoming. That's the whole thing. That's the entire concept. And let me show you the science behind why. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside your brain. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system. Let's call it the RAS for short. It's essentially a filter inside your brain. Because your brain receives millions of information every single second. And your brain cannot consciously process all of those information. So the RAS filters what gets through to your conscious awareness. And here's the key thing. It filters based on what it thinks is relevant to you. Based on your identity. Based on who it thinks you are. Let me give you an example. The RAS is the reason why when you buy a new car, suddenly you start to see that car everywhere. They were always there. But back then, you were not seeing them. Your brain just wasn't filtering them as relevant before. But the moment that your identity shifted to the person who owns this car, the RAS started showing you evidence of it everywhere. So when you change your identity, when you genuinely, at the level of genuine belief, see yourself as the woman who has $1 million brand, as the woman who closes $1 million deals, as the woman who has a dream relationship, the dream body, the dream lifestyle, then your RAS starts filtering for evidence of that identity. You start noticing opportunities you would have previously filtered out. You start moving differently. You start talking differently. You start making different micro decisions throughout the day. Not because you're trying to, but because your brain is now running on a different program. There's also the neuroscience of neuroplasticity. Your brain literally rewires itself based on repeated thought patterns. It means every time that you think a thought, you strengthen a neural pathway. The more that you think from the identity of your future self, the more your brain builds the architecture for that identity to become your default. And guys, I'm telling you, this is not woo-woo. This is neuroscience. This is actually proven. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. which means that every time you fully embody your future self, every time you feel it, live it, be it in your body, you are literally building the neural pathways of that reality. Now let's talk about the spiritual side of this, because I think that the science and the spirituality are saying the same things, only coming from different languages. And quantum physics. And I'm going to simplify this, but the core principle stays the same. Particles exist in multiple states until they are observed, till consciousness collapses them into a specific reality. So what does this mean on a practical level? It means that multiple versions of your life exist simultaneously. You have the version where you leaped. You have the version where you stayed the same. You have the version where you became your highest self. All of them exist as potentials right at this moment. I'm sure you've heard about this concept before. The concept of parallel realities or parallel universes. So the question is not whether your dream reality exists. The question is, which version of reality you are collapsing into through your consciousness, through where you place your attention, through who you are becoming. Every spiritual tradition, and I'm talking about every single one of them, has some version of this truth in its core. As a man thinketh, so is he. What you seek is seeking you. The kingdom of heaven is within. I am that I am. They are all pointing at the same thing. Your inner world creates your outer world. Not eventually, but right now, right at this moment. So on a spiritual level, a quantum leap is a collapse of identity. You stop observing yourself as the old version of you. You stop collapsing the reality of lack, the reality of not yet, the reality of being stuck. And you start observing yourself as her, as the future version of you, fully and completely, without waiting for any physical evidence to confirm it first. This is what Neville Goddard meant by living in the end, not pretending, not forcing, but genuinely inhabiting the feeling of wish fulfilled, as if it's already done, as if your external reality has no other choice but to catch up. Because the quantum field responds to your state of being, not to your words, not to your vision board, not to your affirmations, but to your state of being, who you actually are when nobody else is watching. That is what creates your reality. So now let's go to the actual steps, because I don't want to just explain the concept. I want you to actually be able to do this. Step 1, get brutally, specifically clear on who she is. Not what she has, but on who she is. This is the step most people skip, or they do it very vaguely. But you have to get painfully specific on this one. A lot of people, they say, I want to be successful, I want to be rich, I want to have the dream relationship, I want to have the dream body. But that's too vague. Your RAS cannot work with that because it doesn't know what to filter for. Your nervous system does not know what state to build toward. So you need to know her specifically. How does she wake up in the morning? What does she think about herself? Not as an affirmation, but as a basic assumption. How does she move through a room? What does she say no to? What does she not even entertain? What are her standards, her boundaries, her non-negotiables? What is her relationship with money, with her time, with men, and most importantly, with herself? The clearer you are on who she is, the more specific, the more embodied, the more real she feels to you, then the faster your brain can start running on her program. Vague intention creates vague results. Being specific is where the power is. So I have an exercise for this step. You have to write her down. Not write what she has. Don't write that she has a G-Wagon, she has a Ferrari, she has a $10 million penthouse. Don't write what she has. Describe who she is, how she thinks, how she carries herself, what she believes about herself and the world. Make her so real that you can have a conversation with her, because you need to become her, and you cannot become someone that you can't even see clearly. Step 2, and this is the step that most manifestation content completely skips, and I think it's the reason that most people plateau. You have to die to the old identity. You don't have to kill it violently. You don't have to shame it. You don't have to hate it. You just have to release it. Consciously and intentionally let her go. Because here's the truth. You cannot quantum leap while still holding on to the woman that you used to be. The old identity and the new identity cannot fully occupy the same space. Every time that you slip back into old thought patterns, old beliefs about yourself, old stories about what's possible for you, you are reinforcing the old neural architecture. And I'm not saying that the old version of you is bad. She's what got you here. She survived what she needed to survive. You should be grateful for her. Because without her, you wouldn't be where you are today, and you wouldn't have the wisdom and the knowledge that you have right now. But she cannot take you where you're going. The quantum leap requires you to grieve her, genuinely grieve her, and then let her go. So what does this look like practically? It means catching yourself every time that you speak about yourself in old terms. Every time you say, I'm not the kind of person who does this, or I've always struggled with this, I don't know if I can do this, that's your old identity speaking. Because it means you're putting limitations on what you can do. But your new self, your future self, and your highest self, she's limitless. She can do anything. Anything is possible with her. So you can't let your old identity speak. Every time that you let those sentences finish, you are strengthening the neural pathways of the old identity that you're trying to leave behind. So you have to change your language, not with fake positivity, but just by being specific. Instead of saying that you want to be confident, say this instead. I am a woman who knows her full value, full stop. And it also means making choices that the new version of you would make. And you have to start doing that today. Even in the small things, in the small choices, the new version of you has to make the call. She has to send the email. She has to be the one who goes to the gym, the one who shows up, the one who sets the boundary, the standards. Because every action that aligns with the new identity reinforces it. And every action that doesn't pulls you back to the old one. Step 3. This is the one that's very simple, but it's actually the hardest. You have to live as her right now, before the evidence even arrives. And I'm not telling you to pretend. I'm not telling you to fake it till you make it. I'm not telling you to buy the bag that you want, buy the car that you want, when you simply cannot afford it. I'm telling you to actually inhabit her. Because there is a difference between performing a new identity and becoming it. Performing is exhausting and it's unsustainable. It collapses under pressure. Becoming is effortless because it comes from the inside out, not outside in. So how do you actually do this? You use your body because the body is the fastest route to a new state. Ask yourself, how does she sit? How does she breathe? How does she walk? How does she move into a room? When she enters a room, what is her energy? I'm not talking about the outfit or the makeup. I'm talking about her energy. Start there. Start in the body. Because your mind will follow your body faster than your body will follow your mind. The ancient spiritual practice of acting as if is not delusion. It's the deliberate use of embodiment to collapse a new identity into reality. Every actor knows this. That's why we have method acting. When you inhabit a new character, when you fully inhabit it, your brain starts to become them. That same principle also applies to becoming your future self. So your daily practice should look like this. In the morning, in the first 10 minutes, you have to fully inhabit her. Don't visualize her as separate from you. You and her, you are the same person. You are her and she is you. So you have to feel how she feels. Is she grateful? Is she happy? You have to think what she thinks. Is she thinking about opportunities or is she thinking about sadness? Is she thinking about the past? And then make one decision today that she would make. Maybe she says no to her friends and she doesn't want to go out because she wants to focus on herself. Maybe she says no to situations that drain her. And this time, she's just not accepting them anymore. And then throughout the day, check in with yourself. Who am I becoming right now? Is it the old version or the new version? If it's the old version, without judging yourself, you have to gently come back to the new version. And then during the evening, you have to close the day as her. Ask yourself, what did she accomplish today? What does she feel grateful for? What does she know about herself and her life? Do this consistently and watch your external reality begin to reorganize itself around your new internal state. And step 4, and this is the one that separates the people who quantum leaped from the people who stayed in the cycle of almost doing it. You have to hold the frequency no matter what happens. Because here's what happens when you start to genuinely shift your identity. And nobody prepares you for this. Your external reality will test you very hard. The money will not start to come in yet. Your situation won't change immediately. The new relationship will not yet be there. The opportunities will not yet be there. You will stay the same person. You will have the same reality. So you will start to think that maybe this isn't working. Maybe I'm just fooling myself, because everything around you will be sending the signal that nothing in your life has changed. That you are still the same person in the same life. And this is the exact moment that most people collapse back into the old identity. They say that it's not working. And they abandon the new frequency, the new identity, just when it was about to solidify. There's always a gap between the internal shift and the external reality. But that's not a proof that it doesn't work. The universe is simply testing you if you can hold that identity. Because if you can hold that identity, then you deserve the new reality. So while the external reality is just catching up, your job is to hold the frequency while it does. So how do you hold it? You don't look at your external reality for confirmation. You look at your internal state. You ask yourself, am I being her right now? Am I thinking her thoughts? Am I making your choices? Don't ask yourself, has it shown up yet? As if you're waiting. Because that question pulls you back into lack energy immediately. Then you also have to protect your state as if it's the most valuable thing that you have. Because it actually is. Who are you spending time with? What are you consuming? What conversations are you having? Are you gossiping? What are you allowing into your energy field? Everything that makes you feel like the old version of yourself, you have to minimize it or limit it. And everything that makes you feel like the new version of yourself, you have to amplify that. Because the quantum leap is not a one-time event. It is a practice of daily and consistent, and sometimes uncomfortable commitment to the new identity, until the external world has no choice but to reorganize itself around who you have become. I want to give you one real example of this, a lived experience of mine, so that it doesn't stay abstract. I quantum leaped a lot in the past. I didn't come from a lot of money. We were really poor when I was young, when I was a teenager. But I quantum leaped so many times. I just kept on upgrading and upgrading and upgrading my life until now I'm here. So let's talk about the recent one. So recently I moved to Dubai. I made the move. And I had no job here waiting for me. I had no connections, no safety net. I came here without a plan. So there was no guarantee of anything. Every logical signal in my brain said, this does not make sense. You have to stay where there's stability. You have to stay where you've built something. But I had already made the internal leap before I even made the external leap. I had already become, in my identity, the woman who thrives in Dubai. The woman who has a lot of opportunities, who belongs in that environment. The woman who is truly successful there. So I wasn't moving to Dubai hoping to become her. I was already her. And the move I made was just the external reality catching up. And the moment I arrived, I'm telling you, things moved really fast. I had so many opportunities, so many job offers. with salaries that I wouldn't even make in my home country. And it's not because I have connections. The main reason was because I was showing up as someone who has already figured it out, someone who already belonged there, someone who already deserves all the opportunities. And that energy, that state of being, is what opens doors. It's not your resume. It's not any connection that you have. It's not even your experience. It's the frequency that you operate in. And this is the thing that I really want you to get. The external leap follows the internal leap always, without any exceptions. If you're waiting for the external reality to change before you make the internal leap, then you will wait forever, because it will not happen. You have to do it the other way around. So decide who she is and release who you were. Become her right now, before the evidence. Hold that frequency while the world catches up. That is the quantum leap. That's all that it's ever been. Okay, so to bring it all together, a quantum leap is not something that happens to you. It is something that you become. It's a collapse of your old identity. You stop being the old version of you and you fully, completely become the new version of yourself before the evidence, before the circumstances change, before anyone around you can even see it. And everything backs this up. The science, the spirituality behind it. They all follow identity. Change the identity and everything else around it reorganizes. The spirituality backs this up. Every teacher who understood how reality works, they all say the same thing. Inner world first, and the outer world will follow. So get clear on who she is. Release who you were. Release who you've been. Live as her right now, and hold that frequency while the world catches up. If this resonated with you, subscribe now, because I'm going to talk about these things in this channel. To those who don't know me, I'm Alaya. I'll see you guys in the next video.